Have you prompt into ChatGPT asking for the best tools, the best companies, or the best solutions in your category, and your brand just isn't there? Even though you know your product is good, even though your site ranks in Google, even though you're invested in SEO, content, and brand building. That moment is confusing for a lot of businesses right now because it feels like you did everything right and still got left out. But here's the truth. If your brand isn't showing up in ChatGPT, it usually isn't random. And it usually isn't because the AI doesn't like your company. It's because the system doesn't have a strong enough reason to associate your brand with the topic being asked about. And that distinction matters a lot. Because most brands are still thinking in old search logic. They're asking, why I'm not ranking? But in AI search, that's not always the right question. The better question is, why has the model not learned to connect my brand to this category, this use case, or this problem? And once you understand that, a lot starts to make sense. So in this video, I want to break down the real reasons your brand might not be showing up in ChatGPT, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it. Let's start with the biggest misconception. A lot of people assume ChatGPT works like Google. They type in a query, scan the web, rank the best pages, show the winners. But that's not really how this works. AI systems generate answers based on patterns, associations, retrieved sources, and confidence signals. In practical terms, that means your brand doesn't just need a page that exists. It needs to be meaningfully connected to the topic in a way the model can recognize and reuse. Current AI visibility guidance increasingly frames success in terms of mentions, recommendations, and citations inside generated answers, not just classic rankings. That means you can be visible in Google and still be invisible in ChatGPT. Why? Because traditional SEO can help a page rank, but AI visibility depends more on whether your brand is repeatedly associated with the right concepts, use cases, and trust signals across the web and across your own content. So let's get through the main reasons this breaks. Reason number one, your brand is not strongly tied to the topic. This is the most common issue. Maybe your company sells something that clearly fits a category, but your site doesn't clearly say that in the language real users use. Or maybe your content talks too much about your own brand language and not enough about the broader topic. For example, let's say you offer a platform that absolutely fits into customer support software, but your website mostly talks about experience orchestration or service workflow enablement. That may sound sophisticated internally, but if someone asks ChatGPT for the best customer support software, the AI has to decide which brands are most strongly associated with that exact phrase and that exact problem. If your competitors have clearer topic alignments, they'll often show up first. Not because they are better, because they are easier for the model to connect to the prompt. AI visibility guides now consistently emphasize topic association and brand authority around specific entities and categories as core visibility drivers. Reason number two, your content exists, but it isn't useful for AI retrieval. This one is sneaky. A lot of brands do have content about the topic, but the content is buried, vague, overly promotional, or structurally weak. And AI systems are much more likely to reuse content that is clear, direct, and easy to extract. Recent analysis of citation behavior points to patterns like answer forward formatting, clean structure, and original data as things that help content get cited or reused in AI answers. Freshness also appears to matter more than many teams expect. So if your page is a wall of branding language with no direct explanation, no simple definitions, no clear comparison points, and no quotable sections, then even if it technically covers the topic, it may not be helping you much. In other words, it's not enough for your content to exist, it has to be usable. Reason number 3, other sources are defining the market, not you. This is a huge one. A lot of brands think AI visibility is mostly about their homepage and product pages. But in reality, AI systems often build confidence from a mix of sources: brand control pages, third-party mentions, reviews, comparison articles, community sources, and reference sites. And the interesting thing is that the current research suggests a very large share of AI citations still come from brand control sources, while other studies also show that community and reference platforms like Wikipedia and Reddit can heavily shape trust and category understanding depending on the topic. So it's not either or, it's both. That means if your competitors are being named in listicles, compared in category pages, discussed in communities, and repeatedly associated with your market, they may become the default brands the model reaches for. Meanwhile, if your brand has weak external reinforcement, you can get left out even if your product is excellent. So sometimes the issue isn't just my site needs work. Sometimes the issue is the web has not built enough evidence around my brand in this category. Reason number 4, your brand is not being retrieved in live search contexts. This part surprises a lot of people. ChatGPT is not always operating from memory alone. Depending on the experience and query, retrieval and external sources can shape what appears in the answer. And there is recent evidence suggesting Bing visibility can materially affect whether brands appear in certain ChatGPT results. So if your brand isn't visible enough in the places the system retrieves from, you may disappear from answers even if you think your general SEO is solid. This matters because many teams are focused almost entirely on Google. But if the AI system is pulling support from other search or indexing layers, then weak visibility there can create a blind spot. That means part of the problem may be technical and discoverability based, not just messaging based. Reason number 5, you're testing visibility the wrong way. Now let's be fair. Sometimes brands think they are invisible in ChatGPT when really they are testing badly. They run one prompt, one time, maybe in one model, then they panic. But AI outputs vary. Prompt wording matters. The platform matters. The category matters. Even slight changes in phrasing can shift which brands are mentioned. That's why current guidance on AI visibility tracking emphasizes repeated prompt sets, share of voice, and trend monitoring rather than relying on one-off screenshots. So if you ask only one question like, what's the best software for X? And you don't appear, that doesn't automatically mean you have zero AI visibility. But if you consistently fail to appear across a set of commercially relevant prompts, then yes, you likely have a real association gap. And that's the phrase I'd pay attention to: association gap. Because that's usually the real issue. Not a ranking problem, not a sentiment problem, not bad luck, an association gap. The model does not yet strongly connect your brand to the topics buyers care about. So what should you do about it? Here's the practical part. First, map the exact topics and use cases where your brand should appear. Not just your brand name, not just your product pages, the actual commercial topics, the actual problems, the actual phrases prospects use when they are comparing options. Second, check whether your website has strong, obvious, well-structured content for those topics. Can a human instantly tell what you do and why you belong in that category? Can an AI system extract a clean answer from your page? Do you have dedicated pages, clear definitions, comparisons, use cases, FAQs, and supporting content? Third, look at who is showing up. That part is gold, because the brands that appear are telling you what the model currently believes the category looks like. Study their topic coverage. Study how they describe themselves. Study what third-party pages mention them. You're not just looking for competitors. You're looking for patterns. Fourth, improve your citation friendliness. That means making content easier to lift, summarize, and trust. Use direct answers. Use strong headings. Use concise explanations. Use original observations or data where possible. Make important claims easy to verify. Recent industry analysis specifically points to structure, answer capsules, and original data as strong citation helpers. And fifth, stop treating AI visibility like a one-time check. This is something you track over time, because what matters is not just whether your brand appears once. What matters is whether your presence becomes more frequent, more stable, and more connected to the right topics over time. AI visibility measurement frameworks increasingly focus on mentions, citations, and share of voice across a basket of prompts rather than isolated rankings. So if your brand isn't showing up in ChatGPT, don't reduce the problem to the AI is broken. Maybe it is messy sometimes. Maybe outputs vary. That part is true. But most of the time, invisibility is a signal that the system doesn't yet have enough evidence to confidently place your brand in the answer. And that's actually useful. Because once you see it that way, the next step becomes clearer. You don't just optimize for ChatGPT. You strengthen the digital evidence that your brand belongs in the conversation. That means better topic alignment, better structure, better supporting content, better third-party reinforcement, better tracking. And when those things improve, visibility usually follows. Because in AI search, being the best kept secret is not a strategy. Being clearly understood is. Thanks for watching.